So the SubDs to Revit from Rhino. So SubDs are here. There you go. And I recommend starting with a very simple box. But one of the best ways to start SubD box. Probably having when you have the reference of your walls and your floors, but I have like a height of 6 feet there, like a person. So you can create a wall, one of these boxes, and then Control Shift to select faces. You can select one or another one. If you move those faces, it deforms it. Control back, Control C. If I actually select this little circle on the arrow in the direction that I want to extrude, I extrude those, create an infill for those, and do that several times. And I start doing like tunnels. I can rotate the faces, moving them, rotating, and I can press the circle, for example, and press the circle again, rotate. Okay, do that. And I could do that, in a relatively easy way. And I can do this thing and move it this way, rotate it. Okay, so obviously you have to be careful. I will start simple, not crazy. If you want to do another tunnel, I would just be careful with how crazy they are, but you can select two faces, Control Shift, and then click on the circle again and again. And this allows you to do your thing, no? If you want a tunnel looking upwards, you can do the same circle there several times. And you can rotate and even scale if you want to somehow funky shape. Okay, you can press points, Control Shift point to do your thing. You can Control Shift a couple of edges and move only the edges. You can Control Shift and select by double clicking the whole ring of lines. This is great, especially for tunnels. You can scale the tunnels and make them wider. You can do that for a couple of the cases, and you can reallocate, move them a little bit, move in this direction, and scale them. And then I can move one of the edges only above, so it goes upwards to that, for example. Well, you can also select a couple of faces and scale them and take them down, etc. Now, I don't want to make it very complex, because even this, we might have problems how they go. Scale this maybe. A couple of things you can do more. For example, you can do creases. That's with probably you can do creases like that if you select these 4 elements. And what it's going to do is make that, instead of smooth, it's going to make it sharp. If I go sharp in that direction, that could be something you want. I don't know. You can do creases like that for a single line. If I double click that line, it will go down from point to point, and I can crease that. And it will create that form. Maybe the creases are interesting, but I will probably be careful if you're working with smooth surfaces. But you can also create the edge loop. So if you say edge loop, Control C, double click that one, you can create basically 2 edge lines close to the one you created here to give a sense of sharper smoothness in that sense. For example, if I double click here, Control Shift, double click that line, it's going to do this line, and I can do a sub edge loop. And by moving it, I'm just increasing the level of crease here. Okay, I can do it 2 times to make it even sharper. Look at that. Still smooth. I mean, that might give us problems, so not too close. You can also do this round by Control Shift and selecting this round. And then this element. And you can do variations of the crease level here. There's many things that you can do. You can definitely stick points and move them in one direction. It's not necessarily beautiful at all. I think you're just gonna should probably keep simple, not so complex as mine. And I don't even know if that's gonna work. Let's hope it does. Anyway, one thing you might want to do is from the top view, create some lines and maybe disable the snapping tools and say, well, from here to here, what is, the dimension of that line? You can go to the properties, details, and here on the bottom says line length. So you know if the dimension is adequate for the passage of visitors or animals or whatever it is. Okay, and once you have that, and I'm afraid this might not work, but anyway, let's see if it works. You need to select this option, which is basically convert to nerves. Okay, create a nerves, enter, and this is what it does. Creates this okay. This is, you shouldn't move them, by the way. You should just keep them in different layers. And it's good. What do we do now? Well, one thing we can do, let's imagine there's a door here. The way to create a door is with a boolean or a split, actually. That's what I will do. I'm gonna go to this view. I'm gonna create a curve, like if it was a door. Let me go to 3D view. And I'm gonna make it there. So I'm gonna do an extrusion and move that element there. Obviously it's too big, so you're gonna have to just be more careful with the dimension of the door, no? Okay. I might want to place it only in the area one so it doesn't cut anything else. Okay, there we go. I want to rotate it a little bit so it's where you want it to be. And then there's a command, is obviously the trim command. You can select cutting objects, that's this guy. You enter the cutting object and then you select this element. So it basically creates your door, no? And now I have like an opening there. What else can we do? Well, we can do an opening here. Let's see if we can do that. That would be maybe a circle. Extrude, go to the 3D. Go to here, put it more or less where it should be. Take this up. Come on. I don't know why I made it so crazily high. It have to be. Anyway, okay. I'm gonna do the same. A trim, select this guy, enter the space so I can trim the part. What's going on? Trim, cutting edge. There you go. What I did is wireframe. I went to the wireframe option here. So I could just select interior. and I go back to the shaded mode. Shade. Okay, so how this now is where start praying to the gods and see if we can make the shell of this. So the way to do it is offset surface. We select the monster, you see how the directions are going outwards. You might want to outwards or inwards, and then we just need to make sure it is thickness that we want. I don't know, like a couple inches, 3 inches, I'm not really sure. So you might want to have this solid yes. And again, the distance, I'm saying 3 inches. Let's see if that works. If it's very complex, this is when either it crashes or it doesn't work or whatever it is. But in my case, I think it did a thickness. So now I think hopefully it worked. Yeah, it looks good. So if I use a clipping plane just to cut things, and I can move the clipping plane upwards, it's creating that element. So it is good. I just select it and it says is a closed solid poly surface is very important or necessary. And now is another tricky part. I'm gonna save that, select the element, and let's see if this works. This is another problem. Export selected. Gonna give it a name. I say solid 2007 solids. Okay. Before I did that, I should have checked what are the layers. Maybe we want to create a new layer and call it like cave wall, whatever it is, and give it a particular color just to know that it's working. Right click, change object color, say it's gonna export it again. Solids 2007, and here's where if Revit doesn't want, we won't have anything to do. But anyway, number one, what we're gonna do is you have your project here, and again, if you did it in Rhino where it should be, you shouldn't change anything. You just go here, model in place. It is a wall, so I mean, it could be a generic model as well, and you can call it K2, whatever it is, and then what we're gonna do is insert CAD and select that option. But origin to origin, so it comes in where we want it to be, and here's where it could crash perfectly. Doesn't look incredibly amazing, but let's see what's happening. Okay, here's the model. Okay, level one, nice. We get the cut, which is the plan. So that means that if I do visibility in graphics wall and I change the cut patterns to black, for example, solid fill black, it will be filled. Perfect. Now that red line is not like the most beautiful, but what you could do is change the way it looks by going to visibility in graphics, object styles. And here is the layer we created. This is the color of the line. If you want to reduce it to nothing, you can always have it in white, for example. And the most important is here, you may want to, if you want some, if you want a particular, sorry, to the graphics. What happened here? Like a light tone, so you see some lines, and then here's where you change the material. You click here on the little box, and then that's the one assigned, but you can create a new material. Right click, rename, and call it K2, whatever it is. And open here probably to find your library of options. I don't know what it is about. You might want your own type of material, so you create your own new material, but you can also select from the ones that you have here. Say this one. If you double click on it, it will come into that particular material. You can say, okay, so now you have it. So this is the way to change the material. There's no other way through the DWG option. So K42, change the line quality. K2, okay. Say okay. Changes to a light gray, which could be nice to see a little what's going on. Level 2 will have its own cut as well, of course. Nice. You can create sections. Here we have to see what's going on. Not sure. I think it's because of the visibility graphics walls. And here the cut pattern should be placed black field. See that? I think so. Huh. So something's not working here, so we need to check. Anyway, the plans are working. Wonder why this section not. But there's something we need to look. Okay. In general, though, we do have a way to see the camera here. Now that's level 2. There we go. We can take this element. Those elements, you have the door there and light coming through there. You might want to go lower, look around here. You can change this size of that particular rendering. And then when you is realistic, it should be concrete. So when you render that, you should get sun coming from the interior, and you will be able to render with the concrete or whatever material you want to have without those lines. And they're not that bad in a way. Obviously, we need to adjust exposure. Not much light coming in, and probably we need more openings and so on, but light comes through here. We might need to make sure the sun comes in to that point. And then when you make it a little better quality, you should have those nice kind of a cave environments. There you go. It's coming along. It's looking interesting. So we have to look at the section issue and what happened. So I'm just going to call those there so we know we can talk about those issues. Okay.